A star is a star. It doesn't have to try to shine. Water will fall. A bird just knows how to fly. You don't have to tell a flower how to bloom or light how to fill up a room. You already are what you are, and what you are is beautiful. You already are what you are. And what you are is beautiful, strong, intelligent, successful, creative, prosperous, passionate. You are already perfect. Isn't that what we teach? It is what we teach, that I am already perfect. I had a lot of opportunity this week to see a lot of perfection laid out before me throughout the entire week. Seriously, and I know, I should start with something. So this is like my 10th cruise, I think, to come back from. And the first time I came back from one of these cruises, the first time I was asked to go on an RSVP cruise with all gay people, I had an attitude about it, and I thought I would see something. And I didn't know how much fun it would be, because I realized that I suffered from what I think a lot of people suffer from, which is homophobia. Even as a gay man, my own culture, my own tribe. I had issues with some of the things that people did, like dancing in their underwear or fetishes for leather or any of that stuff. I don't have those hang-ups anymore. I don't have those judgments anymore about any of the behavior that goes on that is still filled and coming from a loving place. So I came back with a big aha that first time. So this is 10 times later, and I have come back with another big aha. But it's not about the underwear party. And it's not about the leather party. And it's not about the glitter and be gay party. I'm missing some of the parties, but because I didn't necessarily participate in them the way everyone else might have, because it's not really my thing. But I did get to stand up top and watch a lot of them take place, and they were just awesome. And the costumes were just awesome. And I had the costumes because they were given to me as part of a group to wear, and I seldom wore them. In fact, they were still in my suitcase when I came home, and my son was pulling out this little gold pair of shorts, and he just pulled them out and he went, "Therapy for life." And I heard myself saying to him, I did not wear those. Those I didn't wear. I didn't wear the little striped zebra one number either. Did I? Oh, no, I did. Anyway. But it's not about all of that, to be really honest. I had a very, very different experience this time. I got to see perfection laid out in all of those things that I just talked about, but mostly I got to see it in the environment. As we pulled into Aruba or Curacao or Half Moon Cay, or when we're just in the middle of an ocean. It was really, really breathtaking. And my journey began, and the Reverend Jonathan Zenz came as my guest to learn the lay of the land. He actually enjoyed every party there was. And you haven't lived till you see him hanging off the side of a boat with a pink boa. Yes, it was quite a journey for me to see Jonathan in that light. And he's going to do really well as the cruise minister at some point. But Jonathan and I were sitting at the dock in Florida waiting to get on the boat. And we're just sitting there talking, and we were just about to get on, when we get on in a special place where there's not many people. And all of a sudden, this Catholic priest, in full Catholic priest regalia, comes by with his little carry thing and walks right by us to the gate where I'm about to go in. And Jonathan and I were just like, wow, that's interesting. And then he comes back out and he's looking for someone. And I went, "Are you looking for the minister?" He said, "Yes, I am. Do you know where he is?" Because I probably didn't look like a minister in that moment. I mean, what does a minister look like, really? So I said, "I'm the minister on the ship." And I just had to see his reaction. He went, "Whoa." And he came over and he talked. And I said, "Are you on this ship?" He said, "Yes, I'm on to do the service, some of the services." I was like, "Okay," I said, because I've never had a priest on the ship with me. He said, "Well, probably I'll just watch and make sure everything goes well." And I thought, I've never had a babysitter on the ship with me either. And I had been told that the Ash Wednesday service was canceled anyway, that we weren't going to do an Ash Wednesday service. So he said, "Yeah, and I'm probably going to give a lecture on chastity." I could not make this up if I tried. And Jonathan and I just looked at each other like, well, that should go over well on this particular ship. And I said to him, I said, do you know what ship you're getting on? I said, you know this is a gay cruise. I said, I don't know that the chastity thing is going to go over very well. He says, well, everyone will do well to learn a little bit about chastity. I said, oh, you know what, whatever, good for you. I will definitely be there for that. So I get on the ship, and the priest is there, and there's the people greeting me from RSVP, and the first thing the president said to me was, did you bring a priest with you? And I said, no. So I called Holland America, and I said, there's a priest on this ship with me. And my friend at Holland America, she went, what? Hold on. And I hear her, and she goes, he's being taken off in a moment. And then I thought, oh, God, what power. I thought, So I turned, and then he was taking a picture of these drag queens, so I knew he wasn't, like, freaked out by it. And then he was taken off the ship. But what was here's what's interesting about this. This is how the mind works. I didn't want to do the Ash Wednesday service. And when the priest showed up, I went, and that's how it gets handled. I said I didn't want to do an Ash Wednesday service for whatever reason. I don't know why, really. I've done it a number of times. But the Ash Wednesday service was canceled until Tuesday night when it was announced. And I hadn't brought an Ash Wednesday service with me. So I started on Sunday with a beautiful service, and I got to stand at in the crow's nest. And we were mid-sea by then. And the ocean was everywhere around us. And I don't know if it was the ocean or the sea at that point. I don't know where we were. But people showed up for the service. And the first thing I always ask is, how many Catholics do we have? How many Christians? How many Jews? What do I have in front of me? And it was really a moment for me because it was so mixed. It was so mixed, and no one knew what New Thought was. When I said, I'm a New Thought minister, and I said, do you all know what that is? No one knew who I was or what we taught. And I realized that actually was a really positive thing because I really started to get a handle on what it is we are here to do as New Thought. And it was a beautiful ceremony. It was a beautiful, beautiful trip. I saw myself surrounded by friends everywhere, old friends and new friends that I was making, and I really got a sense of the fellowship that goes on when you give yourself over to life. And no judgment, no judgments, just give yourself over. However, what I recognized for the very first time going on one of these cruises was that my predominant feeling was a little sadness, because it was the first time I'd ever gone on one of these cruises without my husband. So I'm surrounded by life and love and everything around me, sexuality, everything surrounding me. But the man that I share my life with wasn't there. And it was a journey that I wasn't expecting. Kevin and I, after 24 years of marriage, we're like, oh, great, I'm going to go on this alone, great. And I'm thinking, it's going to be great, I'll have freedom, I'll be able to do whatever I want, I won't have to go to those silly parties, I'll be able to sit and meditate, because that's what I want to do. And nobody else does. So, well, John Livesey does when he's there. I can go to the dining room and eat instead of the Lido where everybody else wants to go. I want to sit and be served. So, but without him there, I had a whole different experience, and it started off that way. So my most dominant feeling was missing Kevin. And I had to say to myself, if my life is unfolding perfectly, and it is, what am I here to know? What am I here to know in this feeling of missing, loneliness, sadness? What am I here to know in the midst of life so full? What am I here to know? Because I don't believe I ever want to miss an opportunity to know something in the midst of whatever I'm feeling. And I've long since thought that a feeling of loneliness or sadness was not a God feeling. I no longer think anger isn't God. I no longer think, sadness isn't God. It's all God. Any place where I decide that's not God, I'm now suffering from the misunderstanding of duality. So as I said, Tuesday night, I went and I said, could you tell me what time the wedding is, the commitment service is? And she opens up this big piece of paper to show me, and I happened to notice, what's the Ash Wednesday service? I said, we're not doing an Ash Wednesday service. She goes, oh yeah, we are. I said, but the priest left. And I was like, and she said, no, we actually expect you to do it. We said yes. Holland America didn't think, but you are going to do an Ash Wednesday service. So I went, okay, that's not a problem. And then I went through my day, and the next morning I woke up for Ash Wednesday service, and I Googled Jesus. I did. And I was like, just give me a hit on what I need to talk about today. Because I was going to have to bring in Lent. I was going to have to introduce Lent to a room full of people that had been up all night dancing. So all of a sudden I'm reading about Jesus' 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. And you know what they say is that Jesus went into the desert to contemplate what was coming. I mean, obviously we must acknowledge that Jesus must have been intuitive. So he knew what was coming. I would need much more than 40 days and nights to contemplate what was coming for that man. So he went into the desert to figure it out. And it says that he went into the desert to be tempted by devils, be tempted by the demons. And of course, what we know about that is that really he went in to get rid of the thoughts in his mind that he needed to be rid of. He needed to come to peace with the truth and get rid of all the negativity that must have been going through his mind. So I had this great time studying Lent on this early morning. And as I was doing it, I'm sitting on my deck, my veranda, just looking at the Caribbean Sea. And I'm just like, what is here for me to know? I'm reading about one of the most tortured experiences I could have ever imagined, and yet I'm sitting in the most blissful, perfect place I could ever imagine. And I'm missing Kevin, all at the same time. So I went in and did the service, and I always teach Lent this way. Lent to me means let's end negative thinking. And if you're going to give up something for the 30 days, give up your negative thoughts. And so getting to look at all of these people from all different religions and saying, Lent, let's end negative thinking, give up negative thoughts. It was as if the whole room went, oneness. Because not a person left that service without coming to either Jonathan or I and saying, thank you, I've never had this perspective on Lent. So clearly, Spirit knew that I was doing the Ash Wednesday service no matter what I said. And I was really happy to be of service. Now the ashes came from somewhere, and so I'm like opening, it came in a little envelope. I was like, wow, not a lot of people had to die for this. And so I'm opening it up, and now there's no, I know they're palm ashes, they're not people's ashes. Could you imagine? And this is your Aunt Sadie. So I said, I'm going to need a bowl. And don't you know what they bring me? A Catholic chalice. A gold Catholic chalice. And I'm like, what do I need to know here? What is trying to come through me here? So the Catholic chalice comes, I pour the ashes in the chalice, and now I'm thinking, I'd have to let them know. And I said, okay, so just to be very clear, I am not a Catholic priest. I have played one on TV. And when I said that, no one laughed, and I went, oh, I am dead. I am just dead. And so I take the chalice, and I said, I am not going to put the ashes on your forehead. I already had that experience a few times back when a little girl came up to me crying, saying, I can't do it, you'll have to do it. And I turned into Father James, which is what they called me all over the ship. Father James, Maria. Father James. Everywhere I went, Father James, can I speak to you? I stopped correcting them. I went, certainly, my child. So I was like, I always wanted to be a priest, and so it is. So the ashes came time to do the ashes, and the lovely Jonathan Zenz is singing this beautiful song. I can't remember which one it was now. He sang so many of them for me all week. He was the wedding singer all week. And he's singing this beautiful song, and the people are coming up to me, and it's such a beautiful experience to watch people's armor all drop, come up with tears in their eyes, and I'm holding it, reach down and put the ashes on their forehead, and I get to look in their eyes, and every single one of them looked me in the eyes and just smiled and walked away. And I was sitting there, and I'm literally, the thing's starting to shake. I'm getting so emotional about it. And it was just a beautiful experience, because what I saw was oneness. All religions coming together as one. And I had such a faux pas. I said, you're all Catholic, right? And they were like, no, there were all these different religions. I was like, you all do ashes too? I just didn't remember that anybody did ashes but Catholics. I will never make that mistake again. So the ashes were over, and I turned around. And I go this way to Jonathan, and Jonathan goes. And I go by and I go, I wasn't giving them to you. And I put them back down, and we ended up having this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful service. And what I understood about the ashes, when I explained the ashes to them, I said, I get ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I get that many religions teach this as I am honoring the fact that I am a sinner. I said, but that's not what I honor with these ashes. Because ashes to dust, to me says, I am part of an infinite life that will never end. I said, and I would like you to take that into your heart today. Celebrate that. That when you put these ashes on your forehead, the sign of a cross, that's what you know. So, again, what am I here to know? The commitment ceremony was next. We usually have 10, 15 couples. There were over 100. And I was just, I told Jonathan, I said, it's very fast. It's just, 10 couples. It's really a beautiful ceremony, but it won't be long. I get up there, and there were 20, 30 couples. I was like, wow, that's good. And they just start coming. All these guys in tuxedos and women in dresses. It was so beautiful. I was like, oh my God, the room filled up. And we had this magnificent, magnificent ceremony. And when I do the vows and I say, I, and please add your name here, take you, please add your partner's name, and I do it, and the little couple in front of me couldn't speak. The guy went, I, and then just burst into tears. So he didn't say any of it, making it more difficult for me to continue. And so I finished that, and everybody was crying, and it was just a beautiful day. And we sat there. I must have sat in the crow's nest for like 2 hours, just talking, all the couples talking to me about my religion, all of them asking me, where do we find a church like this? Some of them saying, we love our church, but we'd like to find a church like yours too as an alternative to go back and forth. And so this whole journey for me was this oneness experience. And then I've been asking myself all week, what am I here to know? And then it happened. What am I here to know? In the most gorgeous sunset I've ever seen. So I have an Ernest Holmes quote for you, and it's this. I can conceive in my imagination a beauty so splendid that should I perceive it, it would shatter even my physical being. So I was sitting on the top deck watching this beautiful sunset with these two beautiful men up here, Jeff and Brooks. I'm staring into the horizon, and Jeffrey's telling me about how he sees a cross when he sees the horizon and the sun and the shadow. And that no matter where you stand when you look at a sunset, the light will come right to you. If you move this way, the light still comes right to you. No matter where you go, you are part of this breathtaking horizon. And I had my phone with me, and of course, as I'm staring into the horizon, a text comes up from Reverend Rita, what's your talk title? Because it doesn't matter where I go, she will find me. And so I gave her the title, Walkin the Horizon, because I wanted to talk about this perfect moment. Ernest Holmes also says, always there is something locked behind the border, something yet to learn. So always there is something behind the border, something yet to learn. And suddenly, in that moment, as I sat there looking at this sunset, everything in my life seemed trivial. Everything in my life seemed trivial. And yet, everything in my life seemed important at the same time. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at this sunset, and I see in the horizon a tightrope. And I think to myself, life really is a tightrope between the trivial and the important, and understanding that they are both simultaneously, depending on what I want. And all of a sudden, this peace just filled me up, and all the colors were just erupting in the sky. And I knew something that I didn't know before, in the way that I was beginning to know it. And it's from the lyrics. A star is a star. It doesn't have to try to shine. Water will fall. A bird just knows how to fly. You don't have to tell a flower how to bloom or light how to fill up a room. You already are what you are, and what you are is beautiful. We work so hard to be what we already are. We come to church on Sunday. I feel like my entire ministry has evolved into a ministry of just helping people understand who they are. Because once they realize who they are, everywhere they look, they're going to see it. And therefore, everywhere you look, you will be in that consciousness, in that knowing. And I defy you to see the problems in your world and in your life when you are so clear with who you are. You will just see right through it, to what's behind it, to the truth. You will see the triviality of it, and you will see the massed importance of it at the same time. We try so hard to achieve when we have to understand that we are the achievement. Who I am is the achievement of God's incredible creative power moving through me and making me who I am. I can conceive in my imagination a beauty so splendid that should I perceive it now, it would shatter even my physical being. Always there is something locked behind the border, something yet to learn. I imagine that there is something locked behind this idea of trivial/important. And that's why I'm here today. That's where I am today. I'm at this place of understanding this concept of trivial important in my life. Tomorrow I'll be somewhere else. But always I'll be able to be walking that horizon and understanding that it's very important to walk through life not getting attached to any of it. Not feeling like any of it is so important that I have to become this. I have to be this. I'm here to do this. I have more people say to me, what do you feel you're here to do? Breathe. Smile. Eat. I love to eat. Be happy. You know, I don't need to write the world's greatest bestseller. I don't have to fill stadiums of people to talk to. I probably will, both of those things, because I may decide that's what I want to do. Once I actually remember who I am and that whatever I decide to do, I can do. But there's just so much going on, so much of the time inside of our minds that stops us. The trivial stuff. There's so much going on inside our minds, the important stuff, that stops us from actually being able to, as Ernest Holmes says, just allow something so much bigger than me to inhabit me. So that's what happened to me looking at this sunset. That's what happened to me on this cruise. And I have to tell you this too. Spending a week without Kevin on a cruise ship like that, my heart for him opened up wider than it has ever. And I just sat there saying, oh my God. Valentine's Day was we celebrated 24 years together this Valentine's Day. And it was the first Valentine's Day in 24 years that we weren't together. We made a promise to each other never to be apart, yet this time we agreed that we would break that promise and do what we needed to do, since he's in New York opening a brand new Broadway show, and I had a contract to fulfill on the Eurodam. But I got to tell you this. What do I need to know here? Wow. My heart just exploded with love for this man of 24 years, deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, so that I understood that no matter where we are on Valentine's Day in any given year, we are right there, together. And as it turned out, of course, we were in the middle of sea, so there was no emails, there was no text, there was nothing. That's not an accident. Every single point in your life, every moment of your life is not an accident. Everything that you're going through right now, every challenge, every joy, every success, every failure, doesn't matter what it is that you're going through, it is not by accident. And if you would be willing, just be willing, to stand in the truth of who you are, to really get it, that you are God, and not just a little bit of God. Thank you, Sharon Earl, for this. Her quote this morning just knocked me out in her meditation by Rumi. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. As soon as we get that, I'm taking this to Vancouver. As soon as we get that, then everything changes. Everything changes. And whatever you decide to do with your life is demonstrated perfectly. How could it not be? Jesus came and showed us. He was a way shower. He came and showed us that when we know who we are, we can heal by the power of our mind. It is done unto you as you believe. Your faith makes you whole. All this comes back to just one thing, my dear, dear, dear people. And that is the understanding that right where you are, God is the entire ocean. Do not denigrate yourself by just thinking you're the wave. You are not the wave. You are the entire ocean in the wave. That's the truth. And you know, when you sit on a ship surrounded by the ocean and the sea, and you actually sit there and you realize who you are, and you realize what's going on, There was a lot going on that ship, and I had many, many opportunities to assist people, to help people. But I had more opportunities this time to assist myself, to help myself. And I promised myself that one of the last things I would say to you is, thank you for letting me be your minister. And thank you for letting me go away sometimes to refuel, to remember who I am. Because I spend a lot of time telling everybody who they are and knowing who I am. But sometimes it's really good to go away and just sit in it and remind yourself. So as I say thank you to you for giving me that opportunity, I'd like you to take that opportunity for yourself. We have way too busy lives. We are so busy we don't have time to remind ourselves who we are. We're so busy so much of the time that we don't have time to refuel. And I must tell you, everything that you think is so important is really trivial. And everything that you think is trivial is really very important. Because there's something to know about all of it. And if the question is just, what do I need to know here? And then I have such faith to let God tell me and speak through me, because that's who I am, then life has a magnificent journey ahead for me. And the waters are clear and blue. You've never seen blue like you see in the Caribbean. So thank you for letting me come back today. I literally changed my whole flight pattern to come back from the Caribbean, talk today, and go right to Vancouver for the Ministers' Conference. And I'm the opening speaker tomorrow. And I got to tell you, I have no idea what I'm going to say. I don't. I don't. But I'm sure it's going to be something about you all today and us today. So, I usually try to give myself a closing and rev it up. I'm not going to do that. I'm not. Because as I was telling Barbara Shane, I came back from this cruise with a very different energy. A very calm, confident. I'm always confident, aren't I? Pretty much. But I came back calm and peaceful and tired, but knowing, so clear in my soul that what I am doing and who I am and who I continue to become is exactly what God has in mind for me, because I will have it no other way. And I'm just so grateful to get a chance to share that with you today. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.